More than 40 people were taken into custody and turned over to ICE after they attended an invite-only party that federal agents say was for members of the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. This is video provided by the Rocky Mountain Division of the Drug Enforcement Administration. The agency says they seized drugs, money, and weapons. 9 News reporter Angeline McCall and our 9 News Investigates team have been following this story throughout the day today. Angeline joins us now with an update.
Yeah, tonight we've learned it wasn't just Adams County Sheriff's deputies on scene. At this raid in Adams County, Douglas Sheriff's deputies were also there providing support, equipment, and resources. Now we're trying to make sense of what happened and what led up to this. An early morning DEA raid after a months-long investigation stemming from a fentanyl bust in August.
Over the course of the months that followed, we prioritized our agents to focus on this threat. And what everyone has seen take place today in Adams County is the results of a long-term effort.
Special Agent David Oleski with the DEA Rocky Mountain Division says it led them to this building in Adams County off 66th and Federal Boulevard. He says their raid broke up a TDA-affiliated gathering.
So this location was set up to be an after-hours party, and there was approximately 50 individuals who we identified at that location during our enforcement operations.
49 people detained. 41 of those, they say, were in the country without documentation.
This search warrant today was secured based on our drug trafficking investigation, and that a significant portion of those that are present have Tren de Aragua ties. And then there's going to be an assortment of other individuals that are in there.
The DEA could not confirm how many people detained were TDA members or what their exact connection was. Most are in ICE custody as the investigation continues. The DEA did tell us that this is still an active investigation. We could learn as early as tomorrow if any federal cases are filed against people detained here as in federal charges. And of course, we are still waiting to learn how connected some of these people are to TDA, because the DEA was also vague about that. Angeline McCall, 9 News.
All right, Angeline, thanks for asking those questions. In other parts of the country, the Los Angeles DEA Field Division announced they're assisting federal law enforcement with immigration enforcement efforts. According to a social media post, the special agent in charge of assisting the Department of Homeland Security. The move comes as President Donald Trump cracks down on immigration. LA City Council formally adopted a sanctuary city ordinance last year prohibiting city resources or personnel from being used to help federal enforcement of immigration laws. But there is an exception for LAPD to assist federal immigration officers for cases involving serious offenses. More troops arrived in El Paso, Texas this weekend, helping with operations along the southern border. Earlier this week, the Pentagon ordered 1,500 troops to El Paso and San Diego, part of President Trump's executive orders cracking down on immigration. About 250 service members arrived in Texas yesterday, which only adds to the initial group who arrived at Fort Bliss on Thursday. The AP reports there are already about 2,500 National Guard and Reserve forces deployed to the border. President Trump is issuing emergency tariffs on Colombia after 2 flights of undocumented migrants being deported from the U.S. were not allowed to land there. Trump posted on social media saying he enacted a 25% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. from that country, which will be raised to 50% in 1 week. It's Trump's first retaliatory action against another country over immigration issues. The Colombian president said he would deny entry to any American planes carrying Colombian migrants, saying the U.S. cannot treat them like criminals. All right, let's talk about the forecast. Another cold night here in Denver, but we finally have a warm-up headed our way very, very soon. Corey Reppenhagen's going to tell us all about that.
Yeah, we're going to hear the sound of snow melt in every direction as we go through this week, because we've got a lot of sunshine and we've got a lot of snow to melt, and that's what we'll be seeing. But it's going to take a while here for tomorrow because we still have some Arctic air sitting on top of us. Temperatures getting down there into the teens already. 14 at DIA. We could come close to single digits tomorrow. So that warm-up's going to take a while. Here's the forecast in Denver here. Still freezing by about 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30 or 11. We'll break the freezing mark, and then we'll get some warm sunshine, and we'll start to see some of that great snow that we got on Saturday start to melt. Here's the forecast low temperatures across the rest of the region here. It's going to be relatively cold everywhere, especially here on the eastern plains, well below average, and still slightly below average even in the mountains. mountains. As we're watching our weather impact headlines here, the warm, sunny Monday is going to take a while, but we're getting the 40s. The warm week, it's going to last pretty much the entire week, although we are watching one little storm system that will be in the southern part of the state that could bring some impacts on Thursday. That's all coming up in the forecast.
Corey, thank you. Arvada police say they shot a man who is suspected of stealing a car after they said he shot at them first. Police say they found the stolen car in an alley near Kipling around 3:40 this morning. Police say the guy wouldn't get out of the car and then fired gunshots at the officers. And that is when they say they returned fire, hitting the man. He was then taken to the hospital with serious injuries. 3 officers were now placed on administrative leave. That is the standard department policy. Denver police say they have arrested a woman who was accused of stabbing a man last night. Police say this happened in an alleyway near Colfax and Grant just before 7:15. Police say the man and the woman got into some kind of argument. The woman stabbed the guy in the foot. He went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And now that woman is being held on suspicion of second-degree assault. Police have not shared at this point whether or not these two knew each other. A man in the audience at a club sports track and field meet at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs was killed during a freak accident today during a weight throwing event. The meet happened at the Mountain Lion Fieldhouse this morning. The school says around 9:30, a weight thrown by one of the participants cleared the protective barriers and hit a man in the audience. He died at the scene. In a statement, the school said in part they are, quote, heartbroken at this horrible accident, and focused on supporting all involved. Here in Denver, a firefighter went to the hospital today. They were hurt on the job responding to a warehouse fire this morning. Happened near the intersection of 40th and Walnut. Denver Fire says the warehouse was empty when the fire started, and it's not even the first time the department responded to this building. Last time the fire there was determined to be a warming fire. This time around, officials are still investigating the cause of the fire today. The injured firefighter went to the hospital with minor injuries. While screenings and vaccinations have brought down cervical cancer rates for millions of women in some age groups, the cases are actually still rising. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause joins us now. And Rachel, doctors say if you don't catch this cancer early, it can be really serious, even life-threatening.
Yeah, doctors believe many women are missing out on those annual appointments where they could catch an issue before it becomes cancer. After her diagnosis, one Wyoming nurse is pushing for women not to skip those screenings.
You never think you're going to be on the other side of the stethoscope.
After years spent working in medicine in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Kim Coulter never expected she'd become the patient.
Right, exactly.
After experiencing spotting, the mom of 2 went to her doctor.
He did a physical exam to see what was going on. He had said, something doesn't look right, so I'm going to take a sample and just take it down to pathology just for review.
The news came back quickly. Cancer.
And of course, I cried like crazy because I was very young. I was only 33 and I had 2 young kids and I couldn't imagine my life without them. So it was kind of hard. It really was.
So Kim's cancer was a cell type called adenocarcinoma, and it is a little bit rarer type of cervical cancer.
Dr. Jennifer Rubant is a gynecologic oncologist. She says adenocarcinoma is more aggressive, can grow quicker, and metastasize or grow outside the cervix faster.
Once we got the diagnosis that this was the type of cancer we were dealing with, it was pretty imperative that we moved along our treatment path.
Rubant says cervical cancer rates have dropped significantly since the 70s thanks to pap smears and screenings. HPV vaccinations are dropping that rate further. But data from the American Cancer Society shows in women 30 to 44, cancer rates have been rising, up 1.7% each year from 2012 to 2019.
We are seeing a little bit of an increase in rates. I think some of this is due to people maybe not going to get their preventative healthcare exams, missing a pap smear.
Dr. Rubant says for Kim's cancer, a hysterectomy was needed. Even at 33, the choice wasn't tough.
No, not at all, because I wanted to make sure I was going to be around to watch my daughters grow up.
Kim's grateful doctors caught this quickly. Now she's urging others to get checked.
If you can catch it early enough, early treatment, early detection leads to a better cure and a better response and better outcomes.
Kim is now 5 years cancer-free. Her kid's now 8 and 10 years old, and she's savoring every moment with her family. But it was a long road to get here. Kim made the 2-hour drive from Cheyenne to Denver regularly for treatments. Dr. Rubant says There aren't any gynecologic oncologists in the whole state of Wyoming, and with few options, she says many women drive hours to make it to specialist care that will help to save their lives. Rachel Krause, 9 News.